Everyone, can you please have a seat, please? We're about to start the program. Can you please have a seat, please? Man, we have a packed house tonight. Good evening, everyone. My name is George McClellan, and I'm the Vice President of the NAACP East St. Louis Branch 3013. And I serve as the Chairman of the Political Action Coalition. I would like to thank everyone for attending tonight's Mayoral Forum. Before we begin, I'd like to start with a word of prayer from the shepherd of this wonderful house, Pastor Kendall Granger. Can you please come up, please?
Thank you. Good evening. I want to say welcome to New Life Community Church, where we build strong families. And I know that this is a town hall, but this happened to be housed in a house of worship. Amen. It is our honor and our pleasure to host you tonight. Please don't make us regret it. I'm serious. Now, I don't mind the gentleman with hats on. That's not a problem for me, because when I went to Israel, they told me I couldn't go to the wall and pray with my head uncovered. So I'm not tripping off that. But we do not want to let cuss words, profanity, all that. If we wanted to do all that, we should have had it at a different place. Amen? So since we're here, we're going to act like we know how to act. Amen? Amen? Amen. So now let us pray. God, we come now. We thank you for your grace, your mercy, your love. We thank you for just allowing us to gather. We pray that we get information that we can use to make an informed decision. We pray that each candidate has the time to express themselves, that each person is cordial and respectful to the other, that the moderators are able to maintain a sense of direction and control, God, that this is done decently and in order. As we gather to honor you, we thank you for your love and your peace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Granger, for that, for those wonderful words of prayer and the use of your facility. The New Life Community Church and its staff have been outstanding partners in the dissemination of information from the NAACP PAC. It's very fitting that we're hosting this forum in a place of worship, similar to the locations that the NAACP most notable leader, Dr. King, would share information with the people of their communities during trying times, not so long ago. So, who is the PAC? We're a partnership of multiple social and civic organizations aimed at protecting voter rights throughout the Metro East area. To ensure success, we have 3 keys, only 3: voter registration, voter education, and voter mobilization. The PAC works to ensure that voters are empowered by 1, improving voter registration numbers, 2, providing voter information, education, and number 3, demanding election protections. Next, we will have the president of the NAACP, Branch 3013, Ms. Robin Carey Boyd. Ms. Robin, can you please come up? Need a little help?
Good evening. I stand before you as the president of the East St. Louis branch. I am Robin Carey Boyd. This is the month of March, and it is Women's Month. So I stand here proud to be the first woman since the 1960s. I said it once and I'll say it again. I stand here proud. But this evening, it's a serious evening, and I'm just going to share a few things with you. Some of you have looked it up. You probably know. NAACP's principal objective is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of minority groups, citizens of the United States, and to eliminate racial prejudice. The NAACP seeks to remove all barriers of racial discrimination through the democratic processes. The NAACP is the grassroots activism of civil rights and social justice. So we advocate, we agitate, and we litigate for civil rights for people of color. So words that come to mind when I think of NAACP, I'm thinking you probably think injustices, inequities, disparities, disenfranchisement, discrimination, racism. But if we are to make the change that we want to see happen, we must be proactive and not reactive. So let's use our power of voting. We as a branch are nonpartisan, but we still have power. Think of the power. Think of the power of the vote. So when we vote, we take back our power to choose, to speak up, and to stand out with those who support us and for each other. Voting is not only our right, it is our power. Talk is cheap, but voting is free. Take it to the polls. The vote is precious. It is the most powerful, nonviolent tool we have in the democratic society, and we must use it, says John Lewis. So, this is power is the theme for the national NAACP. Let our power be shown in our vote. So I stand before you today and I say, let's listen. Let's give these candidates an opportunity to share their platforms. And I want to say good evening to each of you all and thank you for coming out. And know the NAACP, we don't serve as your attorney and taking care of your business, but we will speak out for those terms I use, for inequities, inequality, injustice. We will speak out. Thank you, and enjoy the evening, and know that you will leave here hopefully in a better space than when you came. Good evening.
Our moderators for this evening are Ms. Walletta Brookins, the founder of World Changers Prep Academy Private School, the vice president of the Political Action Coalition, and a dedicated member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Ms. Brookins.
Good evening.
Next, we have Mr. Brian Lane. He is a seasoned sales rep. He's also a political enthusiast. He is a board member of the NAACP. And, of course, he's a dedicated member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Thank you, George.
Last but not least, okay, we actually want to get the young people involved in this. They asked to ask questions to the mayor. So, who we have here is Mr. Orlando Odell. Orlando is a 7th grade student at Mason Clark Middle School. He has an interest in church, sports, football, of course, spending time with family, friends, video games, and traveling. Mr. Orlando. Welcome to my moderators, and I'll step to the side.
Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. He called me Mrs. Brookins, but I'll just keep my doctor to myself, huh? But that's all right, because Mrs. also applies. I want to share with you some housekeeping rules as we begin. Please silence your cell phones. You know we have phones now, and we're also streaming. If you can, we want to stream. We want to encourage people to go to the NAACP East St. Louis branch number 3013 page, Facebook page, to live stream. Please share this event so we can get the word out. It's very important what we are doing. We have index cards for anyone who would like to ask a question. If you would like to ask a question, raise your hand and we'll provide that for you. All questions may not be answered due to the time that we have, the limited time that we have, or if the question has already been addressed, it may not be asked at this time. Lastly, please be respectful of the forum and our candidates. Loud and repeated outbursts will not be tolerated. We know some of you are passionate, but please, let's keep everything down. Officers are at the facilities, and we don't want to have to ask you to leave. So please, be on your best behavior. Even if it is emotional, we want you to be on your best behaviors.
And we have a few housekeeping rules in terms of how the program will be ran. Each candidate will be given approximately 2 minutes to respond to an answer, and we ask that in the last 15 seconds, you will see a sign up front. 15 seconds remaining, and then after that 15 seconds, you'll see a new card asking you to please stop. Okay? And at this time, we're going to ask the audience, do we have any political candidates that are currently in the audience so that we may recognize you at this time? Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much for showing up, and thank you for being a part of the system.
Absolutely. At this time, we're going to take this opportunity to introduce our candidates. Our first two candidates who we will be introducing and each one will have 2 minutes to give an opening statement. The first candidate is our current mayor, Robert Eastern.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. So good evening and welcome, and thank you again for hosting this event. I'm so happy and excited to be here and privileged and honored to serve as the current mayor of the city of Champion, the city of East St. Louis, Mayor Robert Eastern III. I am a deputy director in the state of Illinois for children that end hunger. I am also a honorary doctorate in humanitarian. Not me as the microphone. I also am a proud member and a proud son of Power Change Christian Church. I sit here today before you as the mayor of the current city of East St. Louis as we began to rebuild the city of East St. Louis. I sit here before you as the mayor of East St. Louis as we had the hardest challenges and faced with the most adversity of any administration East St. Louis had. I sit here as the mayor has been changing and beginning to slowly turn the dial and move the needle to a new direction. The mayor of East St. Louis, with the crime rate going down 37%, with the partnership of PSEG. That is, we're changing our name from the East St. Louis to East Safe Louis. I'm proud to say that. I'm proud to sit here and say that we have more development coming into this city now than any other administration in the past 10 years. $44 million project, the Broadview Hotel. They said it couldn't be done, but it will be breaking ground here in 2 weeks. I'm proud to see here that the Illinois State Police building, a $55 million project, is coming under this administration. I'm proud to sit here and say that we have 25 new homes being built in the north end of the city. I'm proud to say here that we have balanced, we have completed audits that when we first took office in 2015, it was not complete, and now we're up to date. I'm proud to sit here and say that I'm asking and imploring another 4 years to continue what we started, to continue the things that we have, we building relationships, building the partnerships with the, I got 15 seconds, building the partnerships with the SIU Edwardsville, a partnership that's helping us build and make and change the lives and change the direction here in the city of East St. Louis. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear from our second candidate, Mr. Eddie Bass. 2 minutes, please.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. All right, I'm here to let you know that I'm running for the candidate of being a mayor. I belong to Mount Zion Church. I'm a member, and my change is to try to make East St. Louis a better place. If you want to be happy, come on, go with me, because I see everything in East St. Louis, and I want to let you know that I have went from south end to north end. I see everything, and we need a change here. And if you want to change, this is the time now. And I'm a leader. I'm not a follower, but I'll follow you if you're right. And God put on my mind this day, before I put my name in the hat, I said I want to be the best mayor of East St. Louis. If I can't be the best mayor, I don't want it. And I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it to help my people. And a lot of times we don't ask the people, what do they need? Not what I want, what do they need? And that's what I want. I want everybody in East St. Louis to be happy. If you want to be happy, come on, go with me. And I see everything. The streets need to be taken care of. I need more policemen and fire departments. Right now, I ride down State Street. I want the firehouse open, because if anything happens, we need a fireplace. I mean, a place to have, be open, a station. So, like I say, I'm running, and I'm running as a write-in. You got to write my name in. So, pray for me, and if I am the best candidate, we got all four is all good mayors. So you pick the one you want. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
God be with you.
Thank you very much, and I have the pleasure of introducing our next two panelists. The first is going to be Charles Powell II. Do you have 2 minutes? Oh, the third.
Good evening. My name is Charles Powell III. I'm a lifelong member of this city. I've seen this city take some turns, and it's time. I'm here to let you know that I am going to deal with the real problems of this city. We need to be financially stable. We have not been financially stable in over 10 years. That's a problem. We cannot operate as a city without doing good business. We must increase the revenue. Revenue means more services for the things you need, the things that we need. I'm asking you to support me and my team because I cannot do this alone. I cannot do it without you. I cannot do it without them. Please support me. Thank you.
Our next panelist will be Maria Franklin. You have 2 minutes.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you once again for New Life for hosting this. My name is Marie Franklin, and I am running for mayor of East St. Louis. I am a lifelong resident here. I have lived here all my life, and I have seen this city decline steadily. And although my esteemed colleagues on the dais have expressed wanting to do different, the proof is in the pudding. We are here and we have crumbling sewers and falling down houses and overgrown lots. And we just can't take another 4 years of that. So I'm saying that this is not rocket science. And so, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to get the work done. Faith without works is dead. So I am asking you to support me in my efforts here. All my life, everything I have worked for has been for my people and for my citizens of East St. Louis. I have done changes on the state and federal level. It's been difficult to do anything on the local level, so that is why I am running. I am a community organizer by trade, and that's what we say, don't panic, organize. So that's what we are going to do to make changes here in East St. Louis, and it's going to be immediate because, like I said, this is not rocket science. We've been waiting for this for 40 years, and they've had their time to do it, and it hasn't been done yet. So please support me. Support my team, Mr. Lorenzo Savage for City Council, Paris Grimmin for City Council, Kiana Grimmin for School Board, and Jennifer Chike for School Board. We bring a team of fresh faces and new ideas. We're not going to continue to do the same thing and expect different results. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Marie Franklin. We're going to begin with our questions, and you will have the first question, Ms. Franklin. We will alternate back and forth, but we're going to start with you. Each candidate will be expected to answer this question, but we're going to start with you. What makes you uniquely qualified to be the mayor of East St. Louis?
Well, I believe there are several things that make me uniquely qualified. First of all, I live here. I have lived here all my life. So I see the changes that need to be made, and I see them every day. I am a faith walker, so I walk on my faith. I feel as though God has led me to this, and he has been preparing me for this for the last 10 years. So, I am here, and I am prepared for such a time as this. I am prepared to be the leader that East St. Louis needs to move forward and to reflect the wonderful, beautiful people that live here. Our city doesn't reflect that now. And so because of that, others have had a negative narrative of us, had a false narrative of us, and I believe I am uniquely positioned to change that just by the very nature of not being connected or being withholding to any persons but the citizens of East St. Louis.
Thank you. Mr. Powell, will you answer that question for us as well? What makes you uniquely qualified to lead East St. Louis to be the next mayor?
Well, for me, I deliver. It's just that simple. I deliver. I put in the work, and I deliver. I will deliver better streets, better homes, better jobs. I deliver. I know nothing else to do but to deliver, and I will deliver for this city.
Mr. Bass, can you answer that question? What makes you uniquely qualified to be the next mayor of East St. Louis?
Well, excuse me. Well, I've been here all my life, and I feel that I can bring something to the city as a good mayor, and I feel like that we need everything here, and I want to and I see some good things coming to East St. Louis, and I want to be part of it, and I feel that I just want to do the things right for the city. The city has been down too long, and we are the people can bring it up. And one thing I want to do is one thing. I drive downtown every day. I want a downtown, and I feel like this. When I was a kid, I used to go shopping down there, and we had sidewalk sales and everything. And I know that I can do it. I don't make no promise. I know I can do it. So the first thing I want to do, I want to build my East St. Louis, my downtown up first. That's what I want. And because we've been down too long, and this is the time for the people to pick the right mayor. I'm tired. I'm very tired, and I know we got a great city, and this is a great city. And I know that we can do it, but I need y'all help to help me. And everything you see, I see it. I'm not going to tell no story. I see everything. I see everything. So I want to let you know that, please, come on, go with me. That's my word. Come on, go with me. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Eastern, can you answer that same question, that what makes you uniquely qualified to be the mayor of East St. Louis?
There's multiple things that make me uniquely qualified, but a couple of things that stand out. The first thing is that I'm unapologetically a man of faith. I'm not saying that there has not been men and women of faith that held the office of mayor, but I'm one of the men and women of faith that had purposely ushered in the presence of God in the city of East St. Louis. I'm unapologetic about that, and I'll stand on any street corner, the city, any street corner in the nation, and say that we need more God and religion in the city of East St. Louis. Some people even say that, Mayor, you got too much religion in City Hall, and I've been saying this, well, loving Jesus is wrong, I don't want to be right. So I'm gonna keep doing that, so I'm unapologetic about that. I'm selfish. You know, I don't have a selfish bone in my body. When I see a need, I feel it. When the kid, when we was in a COVID situation, and the kids at East St. Louis Senior High was without a prom, it was me that stepped up to the plate and delivered. It was me that filled that gap. When I see a need for my city, when I see a need for the citizens of East St. Louis, I feel it. I've been doing that for 4 years. I've been doing it before 4 years. I was doing it when I was a city councilman, when I raised money to buy the East St. Louis football state championship jackets for the kids. And that came off the whim of a kid that came in the East St. Louis Senior High School without a coat. And I saw that need, and I felt it. So when I see a need, I feel it. I don't ask for fanfare. I don't need the glamour. I don't need the lights. I just see a need, and I feel it. I understand. I stay right in 710 North 23rd Street. I'm a proud citizen of City East St. Louis. I hear the same things. Matter of fact, I stay right down the street from Mr. Bass. I hear the same things that you hear. I see the same things that you see. There's been multiple murders around the corner from my house. I held the arms of the mothers that was crying as they lost their sons and loved ones. So that's what makes me uniquely qualified, is my heart. It's my heart for the people and my passion for change.
You will find questions on the screen. In addition, please remember to share, to encourage your friends to, we're live streaming, so encourage them to join us this evening.
Thank you very much for that answer, Mayor Eastern. We're going to also begin now with Mr. Bass. Economic development is a critical component of any societies as it is trying to improve jobs as well as the cities. Can you share with the audience what your plan is to bring economical development to East St. Louis?
Well, excuse me. Okay, well, I would say this. Only way I can bring jobs to the city is by I will look out to, well, I'll have to say, that's a question that I could count. Well, I'll put it like this. I'm kind of stung on that one. I'll try to help anybody I can for a job, and if they need my help, I will try to help them, you know, and I'll reach out to, and my knowledge is I would try to help someone get a job if they need one. And I know a lot of businesses and people that will help me give a person a job if they need one, you know. You know, and I'm always helping people. I'm always trying to help someone if they don't have a job. I got a lot of places that know me, and I was a good worker, and plus they would hire you because of me, because I was a good worker. I worked for East St. Louis School District for 32 and a half years, and I worked at the Queen 25 years, and I also worked. I first one brought the boat down for the president boat for valet. So I can bring jobs to East St. Louis. Whatever, I mean, when I'm saying that whoever wants a job, I can help you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to Miss Marie Franklin. Would you like me to restate the question, or are you good?
Please.
Economical development is an extremely critical component of any city's success. What plan do you plan to bring to East St. Louis as far as your economical development plan?
So I can tell you what I have done as a citizen already to bring economical development to East St. Louis. I was part of the coalition that had passed the Clean Equity Jobs Act bill. As a part of that bill, a job hub has been slated for East St. Louis, and part of that job hub is they are going to train people in clean energy services. They are also going to give resources and training to people who want to be entrepreneurs in those clean energy jobs and resources that are coming. So we will have that business hub here in East St. Louis as part of that Clean Equity Jobs Act. Now, I did that as a citizen. As a mayor, I would be able to even double down on those kinds of things. My plan is to really focus on Black entrepreneurship. Mr. Grimmett, who was part of my ticket, teaches young people about literacy and financial literacy and entrepreneurship. So we will be able to double down on those sort of things, because we know that you have to have viable businesses in a city in order for it to thrive. Not another liquor store. You have to have viable businesses here in this city. And part of the reason that we don't have that is because we have this narrative about that, real businesses don't want to come here. And so because of the current unstabilization that's going on at City Hall. So we will stabilize City Hall so that other businesses and develop relationships with others so that they know that the city is on stable footing and will be able to come here.
Thank you. Thank you. Mayor Eastern, we're going to go to you. And what would you like to share about your economic?
Just a moment, Mayor.
Greetings to everyone. We are so happy that you all have come out. We have just a brief announcement. We want you to know that if you have Facebook, go to NAACP East St. Louis branch, and you can live stream there, or you can text loved ones and let them know that as well. Also, we have someone who is bringing white index cards around. So if you do not have one, they're placed, various people, they're waving the cards. Ask for a card and write your question down so that question can be vetted and asked. Thank you.
Mayor Eastern, we'll go to you about an economical development plan. Can you share yours?
Sure, certainly. What brings in good economic development? First of all, is safety. So you have to make sure your city is safe. And as I said, you know, we are down 37% in our crime rate, and that's factual. Also, you have to build your infrastructure. And I understand that the infrastructure here in the city of East St. Louis is deplorable. It's been decaying for over 100 years. So we have to get a true economic and development plan centered around economic development and centered around the infrastructure. Infrastructure, as I travel around and I talk to other mayors and I get into other conversation, one of the things that the country is looking at when you get these grants is having a sustainability plan. You have to have a true comprehensive plan, and then we were working on having those comprehensive development by creating a plan. It's a 2030 plan, a strategy plan that we was working with SIU Edwardsville, the state police, the school district, partnerships with the city of East St. Louis, and we were having those meetings. And we were working on trying to bring in more development, trying to do these things to come in to create more jobs and create more things here for the city of East St. Louis. Also, you know, working with when you bring these economic development, you got to make sure you have a staff. And I like to say this, and I'll say this publicly. We have one of the best economic development directors in the city of East St. Louis, Chanel Claiborne. And I'll say that publicly. If given the time and given the opportunity for her to do her job and do her job effectively with the resources there, I think that we can grow the city even further. She's very talented, and so you have to have a person to pass things off to. It's our job to understand this, you know, it's our job as the city leaders and as the government structure is structured. We're under the city manager form of government, right? So the city manager runs the day-to-day operations. It's our job as legislators, you know, to make sure that we enhance the city manager and pass off the vision to them. You know, we have 4 chairs, the chair of public safety, chair of finance, chair of chair of public safety finance, and the chair of economic development. So these are things that we need to do to bring in economic development.
Thank you. And Mr. Powell, would you like to share your plan?
Yes. Well, in order to bring economic development to the city, we must clean this place up. It is a must. I'm saddened by the trash that I see even in I have to go to my neighbor's house and pick up their trash. We, as people, need to do better for helping our neighbors. It ain't just downtown City Hall. It's in the neighborhoods. Now, moving forward for economic development, we need to stop taking the money out of economic development and use it for economic development. The city has been taking that money out of economic development and doing other things with it outside of economic development. Now that's apples and oranges. We also have $20 million worth of ARP funding that we can use to leverage to do infrastructure, to bring in more money, to bring in businesses, to move this city forward. That's why I'm asking you guys to support me. Support me so I can support you and support the city.
Thank you very much. And something new that we're trying out this year is that we're going to have our little youth participant. His name is Orlando. He's going to ask a question to the panelists. Orlando?
Mrs. Franklin, in the year, Mr. Powell, in the year of 2020, there was 283 homicides. How do you plan on keeping the murder rate down?
One is to keep a chief. Crime rate went down, but we just fired the chief. Now, I don't understand how crime go down and you fire the guy that's responsible for crime going down. It don't work that way. If he's doing a good job, allow him to do his job. We also have ISP. ISP is coming. Great. They're not going to patrol our streets. They'll help a little, but we need to hire more police. Period. We have positions open for police right now, but where do we get them from? We need to get into the high school, start them there. Y'all been to East Side. Nobody out in that school want to be the police. They got guns bigger than the police at East Side. We must allow the police to do their jobs. Let them enforce. Bring our police chief back that was doing a good job. He got the crime down. Don't get rid of him. Bring him back. Let him do his job.
Mr. Bass.
Okay. Well, I want to say this. Mr. Powell took the words out of my mouth, but I'm going to add a little more to it. We need more policemen here. And like I said, I was a police officer in Allerton in the 90s, and my chief, he right there now, Patterson. But I want to say this. We got to have more policemen here. I know they don't want to work a lot. I mean, it's hard to get people to work. But myself, I can get some folks to work. I can. If I become mayor here, I know what to do. I know what to do. And I'm going to get, and that's number one. Like Mr. Powell said, we need more policemen. And I can get them. I can get them. And I was a police officer myself, and like I say, and everybody likes me. Everybody likes me. I'm Eddie Bass. But like I say, we need more policemen in the city. And there's a lot of things, here that we that I see that I understand we got a handful of policemen. But like I say, and I pray all the time, we need more policemen and bring revenue back here and everything. That's how you get revenue and everything else here, by getting enough policemen and stuff here. So like I say, just pray for me and pray for all the mayors here. And y'all pick the one that's the best mayor. See? I don't talk about none of these guys. Ms. Franklin, Mr. Powell, and I want to say this. God put on my mouth. This is the first time of the mayor election, no one talk about nobody. No letters went out or nothing. Everybody was on the same page. So I want to let you know all of us was good. All of us good. All you got to do is you pick the one. So I want to let you know. Thank you.
Ms. Franklin. Ms. Franklin.
Young man, that was a great question. I'm so lucky to have you here today to show what our District 189 children are capable of. So we all know, or we should know, that more police is not the answer. The answer to having a low crime rate is having a thriving community where the citizens have the resources that they need. That is what keeps the crime rate down in cities. Having the resources that they need, having the services that they need. You want to have a clean city? Public Works needs to be out working, picking up the trash. I don't want anybody telling my citizens another thing they've got to do. They've done enough already. They've survived people running this city in the ground, and they are still here. So let's talk about what kind of services we're going to provide for our citizens, not something else they've got to do. They've done enough. Let's do something good for the citizens for a change. So we're going to give the citizens everything they need to thrive. We're going to create a city hall that is citizen friendly and where the citizens come to get answers and where people answer the phone. That's how you keep crime down in the city. You have citizens who are thriving. And we have everything and everybody we need right here in East St. Louis. We have the people here. We have the resources here. We have everything we need. We just need leadership who is willing to lead and who is willing to do the right thing. This is not rocket science, y'all. You just got to do the right thing. And for the, Mr. Powell and others who talks about what we need,
okay,
they've already been here. How come you haven't done it already?
All right,
What are you waiting on?
Thank you. Before we go with our last question with Mayor Easton, we have to alert the audience that Mr. Powell is going to have to go because of a pre-scheduled event. George, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, as soon as the mayor answers his part of the question, you're going to be next with your last question before you leave, okay, Mr. Powell? All right, thank you.
Mr. Easter?
Repeat the question, please. I just want to hear you talk.
In the year of 2020, there are approximately 283 homicides. How do you plan on keeping the murder rate down?
That's an excellent question. But in the year 2020, in the city of East St. Louis, we saw a homicide drop by 2%. And we saw that homicide drop by 2% for various myriad of reasons. Community partnerships that we had with the local clergy, community partnerships that we had with social service organizations, by creating jobs, by doing those things and getting out. And if you see something, say something. Having that action. One of the biggest reasons why we have the partnership with PSEC is because it's just not about, as Ms. Franklin alluded to, and I always believe credit where credit is due. She did say this. It's not about arresting people and taking people to jail when they're doing it. It's about getting inside of the communities and creating and stopping the problem before it starts. And also one of the reasons you can also help with the crime rate reduction. We just received a $1 million grant for the city of East St. Louis for workforce development. So what does that do? From 18 and up, that means we can put these young people to work and give them jobs, good paying jobs here in the city of East St. Louis. A $1 million grant we just received. So these are some of the reasons, some of the things you can do to try to corral violence and try to corral the homicide rate. And people may be tired of me telling this story, but I'm going to tell it to his person that did it is brought to justice. I'm a victim of violent crime. I'm a victim. My grandfather, his murder is still at large to this day. So I understand about having violence hit you firsthand. That was my namesake. My namesake. So nobody can tell me how that rips through your family and how that changes everything that inside you and makes you want to work hard and do the things to do everything that you can do to change your city from violence and everything in between. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we go to our next question, we want to remind the audience that there are cards floating around. If you have questions you'd like to submit to the panelists, please do so. We understand Mr. Powell is going to have to leave, so we have one question here before you go. And George, would you like to say something else?
Yes. So we want to go to some questions from the floor. Before we do that, I'd like to introduce Ms. Katina Rupert and Ms. Patience Prude. They're going to ask a question.
Where do each of you live, starting with Mr. Powell?
1309 Trinity, South End.
Ms. Franklin?
I live at 3232 Lincoln Avenue in East St. Louis, and I say avenue, I remember as a kid, I was somewhere telling someone my address, and I said Lincoln Avenue, and they said, they have avenues in East St. Louis? So I always state Lincoln Avenue, 3232. I've lived in that neighborhood since 1971.
Mr. Bass.
I stay at 816 North 23rd Street, East St. Louis, Illinois, 62205. I've been there for 40-some years. Thank you.
Mr. Eastern.
I live at 710 North 23rd Street in the great city of East St. Louis, right down the street from Young's Rice House. I'm happy that it's back open, but I'm not happy it's back open because I can't get down the street.
Starting with Mr. Powell, what will be your plan of action the first 30, 60, 90 days of being in office?
So let me try and sum up 90 days in 2 minutes. First is to clean up the city. We need to stabilize what we have here in this city. It can no longer go down. All these derelict houses, businesses, sewers falling in, it needs to be stabilized. That is immediate action that can be done starting day one.
Okay. Mr. Eastern, same question.
In 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days, the first thing you want to get a new transition team. You want to make sure that the things that we've been trying to implement over the past 4 years and changing out things that need to be changed, is that whomever personnel, changing policies, changing anything that you need to change to make sure that you get those things done. So to have a realistic plan, we already have a plan. It's time to execute the plan that we already in place. One of the things that happens when you change government, we had a plan in 2013, and I believe that our former mayor, Alvin Parks, he was mayor then, and it was the business district plan when we was going to do everything around the central business district. Well, when we changed administration, that plan went to scrap. But we had already started doing those things and put those things in fruition. So when you change the administration, now that plan is null and void. But the things that need to be done is still there. Mr. Bass alluded to just a few minutes ago having a firehouse reopen on 27th Street. That's in the Central Business District. So those things, you have to be consistent, have a consistent and precise plan, and keep those things that you were doing and continue to do them. What was the plan that you already have? Completely, that's the biggest problem with East St. Louis. It's a revolving door for this and that and that and this, and then you never complete a project. There's been a lot of things that we did in East St. Louis, and every time you change administrations, you never complete the project. We need to complete things. Finish what we start. Finish what we start. If we finish some of the things that we start and give the people that's inside of City Hall the opportunity to do their jobs, again, understand this. We're on a city manager form of government. And I think people get a little bit delusional when it's not the mayor's job to run the city, it's the city manager's job to run the city. Let the city manager run the city. And when you vote on things at the city council and as things are done, you don't go behind the city council's back or whatever and try to undo those things or unravel them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bass?
Yes. Okay. I want to say one thing, that if I'm in there 90 days, the first thing I want to do is take care of my, first thing God put on my mind is take care of the city, the citizens, and the employees, and no more extra money for nobody. I'm going to spend every dime they got, if I be mayor, on them three things. And I want to make sure that that downtown got to be taken care of. I want my downtown, and I drive down by the Casino Queen. The safety of the people, it's dark down there. It's dark. It's really dark. And the first thing I said, I've been trying to get them lights on, but I understand we try to help in employees, but I want to make sure that I want to do the right thing for the East St. Louis, for the citizens. Thank you.
Last but not least, Ms. Franklin.
Thank you. So the first thing I'm going to do on the first day is to stop this cycle of recycling these same politicians and these same family politicians that have been running this city in the ground for 40 years. So on the first day, I'm going to bring in a fresh set of new faces that will bring fresh and new ideas, and you won't have to worry about when the administration changes, because it will be a comprehensive plan that will be able to take us into the future regardless of who's in office. And now, as far as the city manager running the city, yes, the city manager is responsible for the day-to-day operation of the city, but the mayor and the city council hire the city manager. So who is supposed to be holding this person accountable? The mayor and the city manager. The mayor and the council, I'm sorry. So, while, people want to point fingers, well, this is the city manager's fault, it's the mayor's fault, I am going to be a leader that you can hold accountable. The buck stops here. I don't care who's in charge of the day-to-day. I will be responsible and responsive to the citizens of this city.
Next question that we have. When we think about things that are happening in our community, as mayor, what programs do you envision implementing that will benefit our youth? And we will start with Mr. Bass.
Okay. Ma'am, excuse me. Can you repeat that one more time for me? Can you repeat that one more time for me?
As mayor, what program do you envision implementing to benefit our youth?
For the youth? Well, I would like to, I'll put it like this. I would like to have the youth in different programs, like, is this what you're talking about, different programs? Like, we got Lincoln Parks need to be open, for swimming pool open, and we need put the youth in different places, like in after school, in the summertime for the summertime, clean up the schools, inside the schools and stuff like that, stuff like that, and I'm just, I just like to see kids, and that's a good question. I like to see my kids, the youth, working somewhere, in the school district, whatever, stuff like that, Thank you very much.
Mr. Easter.
Yes. So one of the things that we've been doing is, I have several mayors' youth councils. Working with the kids from ADI, they come and utilize my office, and we do things there to try to get them to understand what city government is and how the city government actually works. Those type of things. Also working with community partners like Community Lifeline. Understanding what they do and understanding and getting the kids involved. As I stated earlier, we just got a youth development grant or workforce development grant, for $1 million, and employing those kids for 18 and older, giving them summer youth jobs, giving them gainfully employed. When I was a kid, it was always something for us to do. It was always something for us to do, whether it's work, play, whatever. It was always something to do. So, if we keep kids busy, now idle mind is the devil's workshop. We all know that. So we keep these kids busy. One of the things and one of the challenges that we've been having has been funding. Here in the city of East St. Louis, so as we began to erase that narrative, as we began to do things such as get off the GATA stop payment list, which prohibited us from being able to get grants. Understand this, so the city of East St. Louis since 2013 to 2021, we was not able to receive any grant funding at all because it was on the GATA stop payment list. So under this administration, we was able to do that. So those things now allows us to get different grant resources and set the foundation for different summer youth activities. Work in partnership with the East St. Louis Township. They have youth programs and developing those as well. Working with the park district, finding those things, summer youth programs. Actually, also working with Worldwide Technology. They have a good partnership here. We have there. I've been able to establish a partnership with them. The NAACP Center right there. That's just less than a mile away. So those are the type of things that you can do, and you can gravitate and change the mindset and try to give kids and introduce them to new things that they have not been introduced to.
Thank you. Ms. Franklin.
Thank you. So my vision for the youth in East St. Louis is to have a comprehensive plan where we have pockets of people in different parts of the city doing youth things like at Jackie Joyner Kersee. Well, we need about 5 more Jackie Joyner Kersee centers in this city. But the city hall should be the central place where those people come to get their resources, to build up their partnerships with others. We should be leading the way in those charges. And Mr. Eastern mentioned the program that they have with the township. Well, the first thing we're going to make sure is that the money stays where it's supposed to in the township so that we are able to do the programs that the money is supposed to do. So we also want to develop a mentorship program for the City Hall so that youth can come to City Hall and be mayor for a day or city councilman for a day so that we can teach the youth how to run a city government. I tell people all the time, I'm 60 years old. I've only probably got about 2 good terms in me. So we need to make sure that we are developing our youth so that they can come behind us and take over when it's their turn. But the main thing is to be the leaders in this, to be intentional about creating these plans and making these partnerships and creating the relationships that you need to have these programs going on throughout the city so that all of our youth are engaged. And like Mr. Eason said, the idle mind is the devil's workshop, so that we can keep them involved and we can keep them doing the things that we want them to do and not be out in the street doing things that we don't want them to do. So the main thing is to be the leader in this, to be intentional about it, and to be able to move those resources from City Hall.
Thank you so much for that, candidates. Our next question, we have a lot going on. When we look at our downtown, there are federal funds and a variety of things available for downtown development. So as we look at how downtown development takes place, what are your plans for building that infrastructure in the downtown business corridor? Mr. Eastern.
Thank you. Great question. So here's the plan is we have to start executing the plans we already have. So we have plans. The problem is we didn't have the funding. We didn't have the mechanisms in place, and it took us a while to start getting the steam ahead. So with rebuilding the Broadview Hotel, which is the largest project that's had in the city of East St. Louis since the Casino Queen. I understand that people say, well, it's not a tax generator for the city. It may be not, but it's a $44 million project that an African-American woman had her heart and her dream and brought that project and bringing that project to fruition here in the city of East St. Louis. What does that do? That creates partnerships on the state, local, and federal level. That project is funded from East St. Louis all the way to the federal White House, from Tammy Duckworth's office and everything in between. Everybody that has any involvement in city government for the city of East St. Louis want to see that project go. There's funds available right now that we can, once we get those things done, that there's other initiatives that's going to be going on down the city of East St. Louis downtown. We just redid Collinsville Avenue Street. The Spivey building is slated to be coming down. We had to get the Journal building abated properly first. So that's abated, and the Spivey building is slated to be coming down. Obviously, it's not going to come down right now because it's an election season. But that's fine, as long as it gets down, because it's not about Robert Easton, it's not about Eddie Bass, it's not about Councilman Powell, it's not about Marie Franklin, it's about the city of East St. Louis, period. It's about the city of East St. Louis, period. I'm chat this time.
Ms. Franklin.
So it's about the city of East St. Louis. So when you talk about economic development in downtown, there is people right now, the old Majestic Theater is under new ownership. There's a real strong talks about bringing in a hotel. Sweetie Pie is coming over here, making it into a cultural center. That's a realistic plan, and that's happening right now.
Thank you. Mrs. Franklin, can you answer the same question, please?
Thank you so much. Yes, the downtown is certainly one of our eyesores that needs to be addressed immediately. And Mayor Easton talked about the Majestic Theater. The Majestic Theater is a architectural, beautiful building that needs to be refurbished, and that could be our Fox Theater on this side of the river. So we want to begin our downtown with redoing the Majestic Theater, getting it up and running as our Fox Theater on this side of the river, and then we would build around that. On my ticket is Lorenzo Savage, who is an architect by trade. He already has the plans drawn out to have the downtown redone, and it's not going to take 20 years to do it either. We need to do these things immediately, and it doesn't take 20 years, folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Franklin. Mr. Bass.
Well, I want to say that Ms. Franklin and Mr. Easton, they said the words out of my mouth. I agree with everything they said, but I want to add a little bit more to it. That we need everything here, and I see that we need to take our city back for number one. That's what we need to do. Take our city back, and I feel that we need everything here, and I hope that, like Ms. Franklin say, it don't take 20 years to get it here, and like I say, it's coming. It's coming, and I see some good things coming to East St. Louis. I want to say one thing: it's coming, and just hold on, just hold on, just hold on. It's coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bass. We're going to now take some more questions from the floor. I'll turn it over to our hostesses there.
Very good. On July of 2021, East St. Louis was awarded $36 million in COVID relief funding and has until the end of 2024 to use these funds. Subsequent public meetings were held, and you solicited ideas from the community. My question is, what concrete plan has the current administration put in place for the utilization of these funds, and where can voters read those plans?
I guess that's a question for me, right?
We will start with you, Mr. Easton.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So the City of East St. Louis was awarded $36 million, as she stated, in July 2021. $20 million is approximately still remaining in the American CARES Rescue Funds. In 2022, the city had a balanced budget, and we had to balance that budget with some of the CARES Act funds. So when I say we balanced the budget was actually in a deficit. So understand this, in 2019 and 2020, the city was in a deficit, a major deficit, and we're still in that deficit. So we had the one-time allotment that we can use one time to help balance that budget, which that budget was almost $10 million in deficit. So we had to take $10 million to balance that budget in deficit. So this year, actually tomorrow, we have a budget meeting for discussion so we can continue to figure out how we're going to balance a $10 million deficit. That's realistic. We have a $10 million deficit in the city of East St. Louis. So when we talk about those CARES funds, we also use $1 million of that COVID relief money for business retention. We also used $5 million of that COVID relief money to repair streets and sewers. The city had made strides to pay its pensions, and with the guidelines of the American Rescue Act, we used $2.5 million that was remaining. The city has also purchased and obligated approximately $3 million towards public safety, which includes everything from police cars, fire trucks, dump trucks, and public works. So these are the funds that we've been using thus far, and we still have $20 million remaining. So we have a lot of work to do. Understand this, it's March, and we have not done the budget. Remember, I said it's 4 chairs. It's the finance chair, it's the public works chair, it's the public safety chair, it's the community development chair. And we're just doing the budget. I wonder who's the finance chair.
Thank you, Mr. Eastern. Also now, Mr. Bass, if you were elected, how would your administration utilize the funds?
Well, I'll say one thing. The ones that are already there, that is in the office, I keep them. I keep them, and I want to say, if we talking about money, $1 billion of money, whatever it is, I feel like this. If the money here, spend it. I'm going to spend it on the needs of the city. That's what I'm going to do. And the one thing I believe in, do not take. I don't take nobody's job from nobody. And if I'm there as mayor, I'm gonna keep everybody there. I'm gonna keep everybody there. And one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring, like I say, whoever the chief was, my chief, I bring him back. I'm gonna bring him back. I'll bring him back. See, I don't believe in. I just wanna be fair with everybody, and I want everybody to be on the same page with me. And like I say, I just want. Just want to help somebody, and that's my job, to help somebody. If I can't help it, I won't say nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bass. Ms. Franklin, we give you the same opportunity to answer that question.
So as mayor of this city, having that kind of money, I would certainly try to cut a blade of grass. How do you have $36 million and you don't cut a blade of grass? We know what we need to do in this city. There's streets that need to be fixed. There's sewers that need to be maintained and repaired, so that people's houses aren't flooded. We've got $36 million. Why is that not done already? So as mayor, I would do the things that would make this a thriving community. We would have our sewers repaired. We would have plans to be able to have a comprehensive plan where the streets are repaired on a regular basis. We would have our street lights fixed so that everything is lit up as it should be. All the things that anybody will want in a thriving community. We've got the money. There's no reason these things should not be done already. So, let's just get about the business of my Father's work, as I say. This is God's people that deserve these services. And it's about time. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. Time is up for the people who have gotten rich off the backs of the citizens of East St. Louis, and nothing has been done. Time is up for the people that have been in power and haven't done anything. Time is up for the citizens of East St. Louis not getting the services they deserve. Time is up for that. We're going to bring in fresh faces with new ideas, and we are going to get the job done.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin, for that. So, audience, we have 13 minutes left, and before we go on, and we want to get as many questions answered as possible, we're going to move to 1 minute per question. 1 minute per question. Go ahead, ma'am.
Wait a minute, please, George.
Yes.
Mr. Bass has said he's got a prearranged engagement, so he wants to say goodbye, and he's has to leave the stage.
Thank you, Mr. Bass. Appreciate you, Mr. Bass. Thank you. So, like I said, we're going to go to 1 minute. Ms. Rupert.
You all have done your research on your competition. Tell us, if you were not running for mayor, who would you vote for? Starting with Ms. Franklin.
That is a really interesting question. If I were not running for mayor, who would I vote for? Wow. My mother is a avid voter. She votes every election, but there are moments when she says, I just didn't vote for anybody in that slot because it just wasn't nobody. I just couldn't. So I couldn't vote for anybody in that slot if I'm not running.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin. Mr. Eastern?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. When you asked that question and I was sitting here, I was thinking to myself, I was like, who would I vote for if it wasn't me? Well, understand this, it's not about me, as I stated. It's about the city of East St. Louis. That's just factual. And my heart, or my brain was telling me, well, maybe Marie Franklin I would vote for. Until she said that. I just want to say that, when you're mayor of a city, it's not about you. It's about making sacrifices. So if I'm not running and I still want somebody to handle, it's my duty to make sure that I vote for somebody. So when the person says that they couldn't vote for anybody and want to be a leader in the city, that shows no leadership.
Okay, quiet, please. Quiet, please. All right, it's time. Your time is up. We're only on 1 minute.
Okay.
She just gave the 1 minute time. We
Thank
are
you, Mr.
almost out of time. George, I said you got another question?
We do. Okay, thank you. Thank you to both of you. Safety should be one of the first priorities of the city. What would you do to bring about safety? We'll start with Mr. East.
Thank you. Again, safety is always the pinnacle of any city and any foundation when you're trying to bring in new businesses. So one of the first things we do is always try to hire more police officers. We're trying to hire more police officers to do more policing. Also, there's a plan as well we're working on to try to rebuild our old police department. That's a true plan that we've been working on. We're trying to rebuild our old police department. It was stated once before that it would cost $30 million to build redo this police department that is built like Fort Knox. And we are working, and today we got the numbers in around anywhere between $7 to $10 million to redo the East St. Louis downtown police department. So we want to make a police presence downtown. We want our police to have their own identity, their own home. They need to get out of City Hall. They need to have their own identity so they can feel safe, that people can come in and do their business with the police department.
All right, and let's remember we are down to 1 minute. Our response is 1 minute at this point.
When I get elected mayor of East St. Louis, to bring safety to this community, you have to have stable leadership. And I stand by my response that I would not vote for Mr. Powell or Mr. Eastern or Mr. Bass. They have proven that they cannot be stable leaders in this city. So for safety, like I said, I've already stated that more police does not make your community safe. What makes your community safe is for your citizens to have the resources that they need to receive the services that they deserve. That's what I would do to make this city safe.
Well, I think we're going to take one more. We'll go ahead and take one more pre-assigned question that we have here. Unfortunately, the city of East St. Louis has suffered a lot of flooding, and some of the citizens were possibly displaced out of their homes. So the question is, what would you do, or what are you going to do to address some of the flooding issues, as well as some of the impact it's had negatively on some of the East St. Louis citizens? Ms. Franklin.
Thank you. Well, first you need to decide, and I think we've already been told by different agencies that the issue is the pumping stations that need to be repaired. So you can't wait until you have an emergency and then decide, oh, let me try to fix something. The pumping stations need to be repaired. The sewers need to be fixed. And this is something that should be part of a comprehensive plan that goes on every day. You just can't wait until the thing breaks and then decide you want to put a piece of Band-Aid on it. You have to have a plan to repair those sewers, to get the information about what caused the flooding, and make sure that you repair the pumping stations that we know we've been told that that's what causes the flooding. Fix it.
Thank you very much. Mayor Easton.
Thank you. She's correct. There is a comprehensive plan that needs to be considered, but it needs to be a true comprehensive plan. See, no one could put in to even fathom that as the economic explosion and the housing explosion happened up the hill in Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, Belleville, Swansea, Shiloh, where does the water run? Downhill. So there has to be a true comprehensive plan, just not with the city of East St. Louis, but with the St. Clair County as well. And this is the reason why we need somebody with experience. We don't have time for an OJT at the mayor. You got to know what you're doing when you're coming down there, so you don't have to go back and reinvent these things. You got to know. You just got to know. You just got to know. So by having these conversations with the Army Corps of Engineers and this, that, and the other, we understand what the problem is now. That's not our sewers, it's the fresh rainwater that's coming down the hill that's overtaking our combined sewer systems. And until we truly address the sewer problem that's coming up the hill, it's coming down the hill, then we're going to continue to have this problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that is going to be the last question from this panel. I believe we have one more there, and then we'll be wrapping it up.
Very good. So trash is not being cleaned up throughout the city. There are no clear alleys to walk through or driveways. So what would you do? What is your plan to ensure that the city and the trash is cleaned up? We will start with the mayor.
Thank you. Trash is an ongoing problem in every urban community. They use our urban communities as dumps, just place it. They just use it as dumps because we're an urban community, but that's still no excuse. We need to have more lighting, and I beg to differ with the alleys, because we just had a plan where the alleys were clean. The alleys are clean. You know, we got a lot of our alleys that we clean with the program that we partnership with with Ameren. So they came in and helped us clean the alleys. So a lot of our alleys are clean. So that's, so I'll challenge that little statement a little bit, but also, working and talking with different people and different mayors. I talked with the mayor in Kansas City. This is about having relationships. And one of the things that Kansas City is doing, and we had this once before, is they have their own trash collection pickup. What do you do when you have trash collection pickup? You can lower the rates of trash, you can create jobs, and you can create different things in your community. So these are conversations that I was having with the Public Works Director in Kansas City, Missouri, and as well as the mayor in Kansas City. So trying to figure out different nuances that's happening in the cities our size, because what we've been doing is not working.
Thank you. Ms. Franklin.
So in order to clean up the trash in our city, we need to have a viable, working public works department. And so while Mr. Eastern was talking to Kansas City Public Works, maybe he should have been talking to East St. Louis Public Works. We have to make sure that the people are given a correct plan and given the information that they need in order to do their job. And we have to hold our department heads accountable for that. So, the trash doesn't just appear out of anywhere, and we're not like some dirty people down here that's just trashy. The only difference between us and Belleville is that they have a street sweeper that's going to come along and pick it up when somebody throws some trash down. In those hot spots where we know people are dumping, there are all sorts of cameras. We put a man on the moon. We can put a camera out there to hold these people accountable for dumping in our neighborhoods. We get their driver's license number. We get their license plate numbers, and then we send them a fine for dumping in our area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Franklin. That was our last question. But now we will have a 1-minute statement from each one of our candidates. Closing statements.
Yes, before they come up with the closing statements, if you're on the committee, can you please come up here near the podium? Thank you. If you're on the committee who put on this program, can you please come over here?
Go ahead, Mrs. Franklin, please.
So once again, thank you very much for having me this evening. I just want to address the citizens of East St. Louis. We cannot continue to keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. We have to do something new. We have to do it with new people. While Mr. Eastern says that he has been trying, well, that's just not enough. It's just not enough. These things have to be done, and they have to be done immediately, and they have to be done whether we have a city manager form of government, a strong mayor form of government. Somebody's got to take charge, and I am that somebody for you. I will be holding the state accountable for what they deserve, what we would deserve here in East St. Louis. I will be holding the county accountable for what we deserve here in East St. Louis, and we will be making it our business to service our citizens in East St. Louis. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin.
Mayor Easton.
Well, it's come to the close of the evening. You have heard the first round of many debates have sort of come. But under this administration, we had $1 million in Recovery Acts. We had 52 applicants, awarded 76% of the grants. We had $500,000 recovery dollars, ARP grants. We hired 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 police officers. We was able to recoup $60,000 in rehiring police officers because we didn't have to pay for their training. And I did all this in a hostile environment. A hostile environment with minimal support. Councilwoman Parks has always been there. I appreciate her tenacity. I appreciate her. She was a breath of fresh air being on the council, and I'll say that publicly. We need people that know what they're doing. It's time out. You're right, it's time out. We don't have time for OJT, and we don't have time out for people that are absent when it's times of adversity and have other things to do when it's time to stand up and be for their citizens. We need a mayor that's going to be there full time and doing it and rolling up their sleeves and getting it done.
Thank you, Mayor. Wow. Can you please give our candidates a round of applause? Great debate. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Franklin, in order to be here. And I thank our beautiful moderators for this great, outstanding event. Thanks to New Life Church, Pastor Granger, First Lady Wavetta, and the use of their home, this church. Thank you, East St. Louis residents. Hold on, just a second. Thank you, East St. Louis residents, for your attendance. Now, we will have another candidates forum. This will be for the school board members. This will be next Monday at Macedonia Church, 6:30. Same forum. Please come on out, everyone. Thank you, PAC, for what you do. And for those asking questions, to those who seek our vote and willing to answer them. Thank you, guys. Hey, committee members, come on.